You're live. Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. And today we got the Blaze team in the house. How
Whoop,
you
whoop,
guys
whoop.
doing today?
Doing great today. Thanks for having us on, Mike.
Yeah, that is fantastic. By the way, just before we get started here, oh, I'm seeing some people already coming in, so this is great. Um, can you guys hear me well? I have to do a bit of audio check because I it happened one time that I started yapping away and nobody could even hear me. So just a thumbs up on YouTube if you can hear me. So I'm looking forward today, guys, because it's been quite a journey. Let me ask you guys, how are you guys feeling so far? Up to, I mean, I'm excited for Blaze, but it has been quite a journey. Like probably, I don't know, Steve, you start off because we had a stream already, me and you explaining Blaze, but things had changed a little bit. Not too much actually, because I was checking the interview we did last time. Things have changed a little bit, but not too much. How has the journey been so far?
It's been fantastic, and you know we've learned a lot. We know each other better, and yeah, it's been a fantastic journey, and it's just been getting improving. It's just getting better and better. Protocol's getting better. The team members are getting better. Everything is just on the up.
That is that's great. You remember the last time when we did the interview, I asked you, it's like, hey, is it too many cooks in the team? You know, like I don't exactly remember the saying, but it's like if there's too many cooks, then the dish will be kind of messed up. So how is that going on that
The
front?
dish will be kind of too many cooks spoil the broth, Mike.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
That's it.
how is that working out so far?
It's okay. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've been running businesses and things, and it's like me and a business partner on the business, and with Pulse Wars, I know I've taken that project on by myself, and it's difficult, and you're constantly battling with a team of 8. It's fantastic. Um, we all have very different personalities. We all have very different skill sets, and just there's a lot of when you're building a project, there are so many things to tie together. There's dealing with the devs, there's dealing with the UI, building the UI, there's the social media, there's the financing. There's many parts of pulling a project together, and the team has split up really, really well. And we haven't had any arguments yet, because I think we have a decent way to. I think there's a lot of trust within the team that whenever if a couple of guys get broke off to go and look after a particular task, if they have any issues or there's anything that's really detrimental, that needs a lot of consideration and careful, talking through and decision making, that smaller part of the team will come back to the big team, and then there'll be like a bit of back and forth between everybody. Decisions can get made pretty quickly. We have meetings 3 times a week, and it's been fantastic. There's a lot of piss taking, a lot of fun, and it's been great so far.
That's fantastic. Good to hear, man. So we're waiting for the dish now. The dish is the Blaze now, and today we're gonna talk about the dish itself, the project.
Beautiful
Raymond, how are
firework.
things on your end, my friend?
Oh, they're
Stevie, what do you
fantastic.
say again?
The beautiful
Good.
firework is going to go off.
that's, yeah, that's what we're waiting for, man. That's what we're waiting. Raymond, how are things on your end, man?
Oh, they're great. We had a good meeting with our developers this morning, and everything is on track. We just got our V2 testnet released to us today to test some extra functions that we wanted in there, and some of the other team members are probably going to be doing that after launch tonight, and working continuously to make sure the UI, the front end, is all up to speed, and it looks great, and everything is on track. Everything's on track. We can't give it exact dates, how that goes with crypto, but we have double audits going at the same time, functionality audits going, for the UI. We have a lot of things going that we've taken extra steps to make sure when the keys get thrown out the window, that there's no looking back, and everything is successful. So
That's
and
fantastic.
it's also a lot harder than, well, at least what I thought at the beginning, because ideas are cheap, but then implementation can have some hurdles and new things you didn't think of. So yeah, it's the whole process of building was a crypto project was a lot harder than I anticipated at the beginning. So but massive learning.
Yes, DeFi.
invaluable.
Mhm.
Invaluable learning. Yeah, really. I mean, it's been great.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, DeFi. I mean, this is also one big thing I have as well. As you said, ideas are cheap, and yeah, I fully agree, because I think my problem more is like I have too many ideas, and yeah, and then the implementation part is where it's a bit lacking. So anyway, guys, so today,
That's the
before
advantage of having 8, because we lots of ideas get thrown in, and what comes out is better than you could think of by yourself.
Yeah, but also sometimes people throw out ideas and they get slapped down pretty quick. It's like, yo, fucking relax yourself there. We've got enough going on. We don't need no more of Steve's harebrained ideas.
It's good that you get reined in, so
It's that poll function on
implementation
Telegram
going.
is crucial. The poll function is crucial to the survival of 8 creators, and it's served its purpose respectively.
Awesome, guys. So, I mean, as you guys know me already, like, I mean, I've prepared something here a little bit. I have taken some of the stuff from the old interview, so we can go through some of the things, and then we can see. I've prepared something, so let's just look how we gonna get through this, because some of the stuff we talked on Sunday already, but probably there's gonna be some few more questions. I'm gonna share my screen here, and I prepared like a little agenda here, so that we can at least people see what they can expect from this talk today. And the first point is going to be more regarding Blaze minting uh, and staking explained. As you can see, I'm editing it while we're talking. So Blaze minting and staking explained. And then the second part is Blaze buy and burn and liquidity pool. So how that works, and we're going to look into that. And then lastly, we can have a look at the Blaze Diamond Club. Yeah. So I think some of the stuff here we have I have it from the last time. Probably before we just get into mine, because I think it's probably a bit too much here for the viewers. I'm actually going to look at this one here, because I think this is this the latest one, by the way, which you guys have drawn? Yeah, this is the latest one.
I haven't even seen that in a long time. I forgot that even existed. We've been that
You're
busy.
welcome for the update, Ali. That's the new one.
That's the new one. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Because
That was just like the 5th edition. The first edition has
the TLS.
complex mechanics that we now simplify, because Blaze is simple in its core, very, very simple with a lot of deepness. But yeah, if you remember what we first originally was going to do, it's kind of like that chart was massive.
Yeah, I do remember, and especially when I was looking at the what I've drawn the last time, I had to get rid of some of the stuff which was the old part, and I think I think it's simplified in a good way. To be honest, like from my point of view, it's just way more simple to just like, I mean, with that one token system. Yeah, it just simplifies a lot of things, especially for people who are coming in, because like dual tokens is somewhat confusing even for me while even explain. I think it's much more simpler now to at least understand. So probably let's get started here. And the thing is, I think one of the thing is the minting phase here. So just walk me through as if I'm the new user now, right? So let's say, imagine I'm a user. I have some ETH in my MetaMask wallet, and I'm going to visit the Blaze website. What am I going to be greeted with, and what am I supposed to do if I want to participate?
Justin, do you want to take that?
Sure. Well, initially, when you log onto the DApp, onto the Blaze website, you need Ethereum, clearly, as it shows from the generic MetaMask icon right there, or whatever wallet you choose. And so once you go into the auctions each day, as we've talked about, the amount of tokens that's available each day is declining from the beginning, which is 8,888, and it decreases steadily in a deflationary manner over 18 years, as you guys mentioned on the Twitter Spaces the other day, at a rate at 0.08%. So backing up a little bit, simply going onto the user interface and entering in your batch entry is what we call it for the auction. The maximum power is 100, kind of like what Jake did on Titanx, and that's 0.2 ETH. And you can scale down, to whatever suits your strategy. And you can have actually up to 1,000 power, if that's correct, Steve, right? We can do up to 10 batches. Is that correct? I just want to ask you that to verify. But that's what the devs did. So we can have multiple batches, and basically, so it's not a traditional auction format. That's one thing that people need to understand. You're not going to get outbid by another user. It's whatever your share of Ethereum that you allocate towards that day, towards that 24-hour period, you're going to get your share that is equally divided for your allocation amongst the other shares. And that's how it all begins. And then you receive your tokens after the 24 cycle ends. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Yeah, I think that's clear. So, I mean, I think this is also something some few people are asking me is, so, I mean, as an example, right? If maybe we're jumping a bit too much here, but anyhow, I'm just going to mention it. So when you what we call a miner in Titanx, you guys call here. This is what is it? Is it an auction badge?
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay, so an auction badge. So when I create one auction badge of 100 power, which is 0.2 ETH, right? So and that goes to like the pool, and that pool lasts for 24 hours. In that, that's the auction, right? Which runs for 24 hours. So
yes, that's right.
Okay, so let's say on a one particular day, there's 100 ETH attributed 0.2 ETH in the pool. So essentially, you'll get 0.2% of whatever Blaze tokens are going to be available on that day. Is that correct?
Yes, a proportionate amount of Blaze, depending on how much ETH was put in that day.
Okay, great. So so let's say on one particular day, I create my badge. I would have to wait, obviously, until the end of the auction to get that allocation, right? Do I claim my allocation, or how does that work?
Yeah, so multiple times a day, you have the opportunity to enter the auction to increase the amount of ETH that you're putting in of your allocation of the whole pool, as in the amount of tokens that day being released. So you can come in multiple times, and it will just add up. Like on Titan X, you make individual miners.
Yes.
But on Blaze, it's just individual days. So that day, all the batches that you create throughout the day, or the auction batches you create, are added to how much tokens you're going to get. And at the end of the day, it's distributed to everyone that came in equally, proportionate to the amount of ETH they put in, and you just click claim, and your Blaze is claimed into your wallet.
Got you. So you have to claim. It's not gonna be like sent to your address, basically. So you're gonna have to claim at the end of the auction.
You're gonna have to claim, and you do see how much APR, or you do see how much you'll get if you were to sell immediately into the liquidity pool. So we just put that stat there so people would know if they're bidding a certain amount of ETH, if the Blaze they would receive, if that was to be sold, it tells you basically the ROI, what you would get, or the
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so that's that's interesting. So essentially, like in the 24 hours before the auction runs out, you can just keep on adding to your badge, basically, right?
Yes, that's right. Just keep on adding, and all the stats for you personally will change depending on how much you put in.
That's a big part of the kind of game theory as well, Mike. You know, you could there's no need to rush into Blaze, but at the same time, there will be clear opportunities at certain times. You know, like say you enter in an auction in the morning, and after 23 hours, there hasn't been that many people participate that day. You know, somebody could decide to maybe snipe in with, you know, a large chunk of ETH to try and claim as many tokens as they can for that day. And, you know, as the protocol goes along in its timeline, there will be opportunities to maybe scoop up and take advantage of days where maybe less people are entering the auctions. The auctions bring a massive, awesome part of game theory to the whole Blaze project.
All right. Okay. Great. Great. Yeah. So I mean, this is the thing which I was basically just trying to understand how the whole system works regarding minting. So it's definitely interesting for sure now. So you can keep on adding to that batch. So okay, maybe this is also a bit like one thing which I was thinking about, which is so if let's say if you don't claim your tokens, right, can you just be adding more batches and then just claim them at the end of the week or something like that? Probably this is like
yeah, no, I know what you mean. The claimable Blaze will just keep adding up. There's
gotcha.
I'm looking at the site right now, and it just has Blaze claimable, and so that is your Blaze claimable. If you do another auction, it's just going to be added to the claimable Blaze that you can claim.
All right, so that's like something very similar if you for getting the rewards on Titan X, right? Like the ETH yield, it just keeps on adding to your staking.
Yes.
Yield.
Yes, you won't lose your your tokens. There's not a decrease or anything like that if you don't claim them in any set period of time. They're going to be there.
All right, yeah, that's great. So let me just go back to my old system here, which is which we went through with Steve DeFi back then. So I've changed some few things here already. So probably let me just go through some of the stuff here which I remember. So the minting auctions, it's daily auctions that happens every day. In the beginning, there's 8,888 tokens per day, and well, there's a cap supply of 11 million, and there's a daily decrease of 0.08% from the 8,888 tokens. Is that correct here? Because this is something which I written from the last interview.
Yes.
You know what? There's not been much change since the last one. Just a few things that have improved it dramatically in massive ways.
Okay, that's great, because probably let me just go through this here so that to see if there's any changes per se. So are you as a user, as you guys have explained so far, you're gonna send your ETH to the Blaze to the Blaze contract in the UI. You can see that, and then at the end of the auction, you're gonna get your Blaze, or you can claim your Blaze. And the ETH which comes in to the Blaze smart contract, 16% of the ETH goes to, so 8% of that goes to Genesis, and the other 8% goes to the future development. This is what I've read in the white paper. And then 20% of the ETH goes to the buy and burn, and then 64% of the ETH goes to the Blaze staking. We're going to talk about the Blaze staking a bit in a bit, but are these numbers correctly so far?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
All right, all right. So I mean, Ono, could you probably explain like why these percentages particularly, or I mean, yeah, it's like what were the thoughts behind this?
Well, the key to the protocol is the staking. That's the golden carrot, which encourages participation, and it becomes the propulsion of the protocol. So that's why the majority goes to staking, the 64%. And the buy and burn is just an extra thing to boost it. But we didn't want to go too crazy on the buy and burn, so just 20%. So that's the reasoning behind that. We just think that the staking is the heart of the protocol and what we want to focus on. As we said, we want to make ETH divs great again in the Titan Blaze protocol. So that's what it does. In contrast to, I think Titan X had 28% in the staking, but we went like triple, almost to 64%. And then Titan X had, 63% buy and burn, around that 60%. We just went divide that by 3.
Got you. All right, yeah, that's interesting. So I think I don't exactly remember the Titan X numbers, but the buy and burn was 63, 64%, right? So or 68. I forgot the numbers, but so you're putting 64% goes to the Blaze staking. So it's gonna be very significant, it seems, right?
If it gets the adoption that we're anticipating, yeah, it's very likely there'll be some not financial advice. If the game is played correctly, there might be some juicy ETH on the end of the staking users' wallet.
That's fantastic. So probably one of the other one is like the 16% on the ETH goes to, well, essentially Genesis and future development. Can you go into this as well, please?
Yeah, so the 16% is 8% is going to be focused on development, 8% to founders. And about a few things about the 16% to say, and then I'll just pass it on to Ali, is I'll put that in perspective. Pulse Chain has a sacrifice. We don't have a sacrifice. Many projects have a sacrifice and get income that way, but it doesn't. The sacrifice doesn't always, majority of the time, doesn't come back to the users. ICOs, founders can give themselves a massive percentage in proportionate to what the users get. It can be just like a slither in an ICO, and there's so considering these examples, the 60% allocated to the team development in Blaze is quite modest. A smaller percentage indicates it's more balanced, and it aims to benefit the team and the wider community, because a lot of it is going into future development. And the second thing is it aligns the interests of us with the community and the users of Blaze. When a project gets a proportion of the value going in, it aligns interest, because the better the project does, the better the founders do. So we have a motivation, a direction to make it more and more successful. And third important reason to know about the 8% and 8% is development costs. Past the current development, we said it, to get a top tier Web3 team, audits, and our times we just do it for free. It's just like we just do it for free, but for the audits, the top tier team, it's cost us over $200,000, and so it's a massive investment that we have put in to make this project successful, community and everyone. The last one is future development and more quality, because now we have the means for future development, which we have plans like 8 founders, lots of ideas. Ideas are cheap, implementation harder, but implementation does cost, and we want to do with our plan and get that into reality. Yeah, so that's some thoughts on that.
That's yeah, I think that's pretty clear for the viewers out there, and I think this is just important for people to hear. because I mean, crypto can be quite dirty in some ways. I mean, especially all these ICOs, IDOs. I mean, there's a lot of ways how people can hide what the team actually gets and what the VCs get. So, I mean, this is the reason why. Well, these fair launches and stuff like that are pretty good for the people in some ways. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, it's still risky. All these things are risky for sure, but at least it's like very transparent from the get-go. So,
And that's important to us, the transparency. And every conversation we have is the transparency. And we're not hiding that it's 16%. And there's reasons why. No VCs, no ICOs, like we mentioned, no sacrifice. And if people choose to participate, they know the rules, and it's right there, right in front of them. So
yes, so even we as founders even need to participate in the protocol to get any Blaze ourselves. We don't get any Blaze. All we get's that percentage of Ethereum. So we can't use Blaze to dump the Blaze price. We can't use Blaze to dilute the staking pools. We have to participate in the project just like everybody else. And no one at all is going to get any lump sums of Blaze to get any control. Anybody that wants to gain control or try to become a whale in this system has to pump everybody else's bags while they're doing it, by pumping a lot of ETH into the system to get as much Blaze as possible. And then if they want to, take a large chunk of the staking pool, they've got to lock a lot of that Blaze up for quite a long time too. So that's it's just another point worth noting.
fair enough, yeah. So that's pretty good. So I mean, earlier I've mentioned the daily auctions, which has the 8888 tokens per day, which goes 0.08% down every day. But a launch is a bit different. So I want to speak about the launch, how that works a little bit, because what I've written here is at launch, it's actually not 24 hours, it's 48 hours. And there's going to be 26,500 Blaze tokens available in those. Is it 48 hours? Is that correct?
72.
72.
Okay.
Oh,
It's the first 3 days
all right. fair enough.
until the liquidity pool goes live on V2.
Yeah, 3 days, 72 hours. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing about, math on stream, I guess. I was
No
like, what?
worries, man.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking actually, but anyhow, could you explain how the launch will actually go, because it's a bit different, but I guess probably just walk through the viewers here so that they can understand that.
Steve, would you like to talk about it, or would you like me to talk about it?
Sure, I can. The launch is going to be totally fair launch. So we're going to make sure that all the contracts are seen by the community, and then the game begins. So there's going to be no funny business and monkey business of people buying up tokens beforehand and weird things going on chain. We just spoke to the dev today that's a priority to make it as transparent and fair as possible. So because it takes a little bit of time to set up, if someone we're going to actually have decoy contracts and all sorts of things to stop malicious actors. But when we're going to make sure that as soon as the website goes live, that's when the games begin, and people all start. So what will happen is the contracts will be given to everyone, so the liquidity pool won't be available. You'll have the contract, so you'll know the token, and if you want to buy a market, you're totally free to buy a market when the liquidity pool is made in a decentralized way, when the first 30,000 of ETH comes in. So that's really how it starts. It's going to be it's probably going to be 2 p.m. On GMT or UTC, because that's good for Europe, it's good for Asia, it's good for the Americas. And so, it's going to be 2 p.m. and we'll announce a date later. Everyone's going to get going at the same time. They're going to know the contract and everything. And it could be minutes, it could be hours. But when 30,000 ETH comes in from the auction participation, the liquidity pool is automatically made. That's 30,000 worth of Titan X paired with 14,000 Blaze. And the next 3 days is just a madhouse. It's just going to be extremely interesting how people play the game, whether they do the auctions, buy the tokens, it's going to be, so that's kind of it. And it's designed that way to just be a crazy start of 3 days. You get 3 days worth of tokens, and at the end of those 3 days, 3 days worth of tokens with this 26,500 is given out to the auction participants. But for the first 3 days, there's only that liquidity pool where people can buy from.
All right, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, we're definitely going to see what's going to happen. So let's jump now, because I think we went through the minting phase here. So probably just do a little recap. You're going to have to create the so-called auction batches, which is going to cost you 0.1 of an ETH. And yeah, there's a 1 to 100 power, that is, right? So exactly. And that's how it basically Blaze gets created or come into existence in some ways through the auction system. And yeah, I think let's just jump into the Blaze staking, because it's going to be very juicy, because it's 64% of the ETH goes to the staking pool. So this is the Titanix Blaze staking, and then that's 64% of the ETH. The distribution goes to 4 different pools. 46% goes to the 8-day payout cycle, 24 to the 88-day payout cycle, and 12% goes to the 888-day payout cycle. Are these percentages still the same? Because I left them from the last interview.
They've changed slightly.
Okay.
And let me give you them.
Yeah. So while you're searching for it, I'm just going to explain what the user are going to have to do. So once you have your liquid Blaze tokens, you can stake them, and you do that by sending it to the Titan Blaze staking contract. And the staking starts from 88 days to 2,888 days. And the longer you stake, the more staking rewards you're going to get. And once you have staked, in the payout cycles, you can claim your ETH. So this is very similar as in the staking system of TitanX. If you know how that works, is pretty much very similar. And there's another payout cycle, which is the 888-day payout cycle. We're going to talk about that a bit later on the last section. But I think from the get-go, these pools are the most important ones at the beginning. So Steve DeFi, do you have the percentages here?
Yeah, we got 33% to the 8-day.
So 33% on the 8-day, yeah.
26 to the 88-day, 26%.
Mm-hmm.
22% to the 288. And 19 to the last one.
19 to the last one. All right. So for the people doing math, I can do it on live stream. Hopefully that adds up to 100. But I'm just going to leave it to you guys. All right.
19% is going to be pretty interesting in 888 days.
Yeah. So this is exactly because this one went up quite higher than what it was before. So yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting. But let's put this a bit on the side here, because we're going to talk later about the Blaze Diamond Club. So I mean, for me, I'm asking is like, how did you come up with this distribution? Is there something about this? Because especially where in the beginning, when you launch, the 8-day, 33% of it is going to be quite a bit of ETH in the 8-day payout pool. So is that something you chose so that you attract more people, or how did you think about that?
It was more of we tried, because big inspiration for Blaze, like everyone knows, is DBZen. We love Razvan. We think he's amazing. We did see some weaknesses, in our opinion, of DBZen, and one of them was daily distributions rather than reward pools. So we made it into 4 different ones, but I made the first one the biggest. So that was it. Wanted the first one to be the biggest. Wanted a good chunk on the 888 because it's a very special diamond hands one, which Ali will talk about in a minute. So that's the main reason it came out. We went for 4 pools and tried to improve on Titan X2 because we thought the monthly one wasn't as important as the 8-day and that every 3 months. So we took it out. And I think Jake would agree too. I don't know. I think he thinks I think it was even something he suggested. So that's kind of how that came about.
Nice. And I think I like this pretty much. I think this is well thought out in my opinion. So I mean,
just
go
quickly
ahead.
on that as well. A big part of it is the fact that the minimum stake length. You've got to lock up your Blaze for a minimum of 88 days. So you don't need to go too crazy in any one. That's why there's a nice kind of even distribution. Why we're not overly heavy at the start and overly heavy at the end. The fact that you've got a minimum 88-day staking, people are going to have to lock into the system for a reasonable length of time just to get even into 2 of these pools. You lock up. You didn't want to be just going too heavy in that 888 in that first 8-day pool. It just eats up too much value too quickly and incentivizes people to think too short term. So that's why you've got that 26 and 22 to those other that is kind of weighted a little bit further into the future. And then obviously that 19% getting kicked out way into the distance just to really encourage people to lock up their Blaze for a long time. I mean, that's what you really want everybody in the system to be doing, is taking as much Blaze off the market as possible, just like in Titan X.
Yeah, they just need to commit. We just want people to be able to, commit, and and for that commitment, the rewards is what you see in the percentages that you're displayed on your screen. So we think it's fair. You get a nice 8-day chunk for those who are staking it in for 89 days, and then you could bail out on your 88, or you could go to 88, right? So we just wanted to give some very nice options with a balanced. As Ethereum goes up, the 22% might be worth 33%, down the road. So we try to vary it out and make sure that the stakes were locked too, as well as important.
Yeah, and just like Ali was saying, the minimum you can stake is 88 days. And so that's going to take, if you want to stake, Blaze is going to be taken off the market. If you want to participate in that juicy 8-day the first pool, which is a great one for Titan X, probably a great one for this protocol, you're going to have to lock up your Blaze for 88 days to get the first 2. And the longer you lock it up, the more share of the pool that you get. So the longest is what's the longest?
2,888 days.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the biggest share you get, like 2.5 times more.
Which is a 288% bonus, right? That goes down 1.44% per day, declining share rate. So it incentivizes, so the T rank isn't too T rank, call it what you will, share rank isn't too top heavy at the very beginning of the protocol, and that's very important. So people that come in later are still incentivized to stake their tokens for a fair share of the Ethereum rewards.
Fantastic. I have a question here from one of the viewers, and he's saying, I have a question for the team. So every 4,000 Blaze tokens max staked will count as 1 share, example. So if you had 12,000 Blaze token, 369 days, would it count as 3 shares for 888 payout? I'm not sure if you guys understood it, but yeah.
Yeah, so every 4,000 you have max staked within that first year will count as 1, what we call a ticket into that pool. So yeah, that's if you can get multiple tickets by staking. That guy in that example will get 3 shares, 3 tickets of the pool. If there's only 6 tickets in the pool, he'll get half of it. Obviously, would expect there to be a hell of a lot more than that, but yes, you can get as many. Try to accrue as many tickets as you can.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think this is also is this a question regarding the Blaze Diamond Club?
Well, it does lean into that. You know,
Okay.
so say you have that guy goes and he locks up his 12,000 Blaze, he'll get 3 tickets. If he mints 28 Blaze Wars NFTs, he'll get another ticket. If he manages to mint a Blaze Diamond NFT, he could get another ticket. So you know that'll be 5 tickets in. Yeah, so that kind of leans into the Blaze Diamond Club a little bit.
And it's a 365-day period, just to clarify with the 369. It's from 1 year from launch. It's you have that time period to stake 4,000 Blaze tokens in addition to the other 2 entry points that Ali just mentioned as well with the NFTs.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I think I have another point later on regarding the Blaze Diamond Club, and then probably we can you can do a bit of intro how that works, because I think we're just jumping a little bit to that. But anyhow, so is there any question here? And there's another question. We are actually getting into it very soon. Question on LP: Will it will be Titanix Blaze? That's correct, actually, right?
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, we're gonna jump to that actually, by the way. So I think Blaze staking, I think I understand it. I mean, we talked about it in the last interview as well. So things haven't changed actually on the staking front. So also let's jump to the buy and burn and liquidity pools. So as stated earlier on, I'm going to open up a little bit here and maybe zoom in. So buy and burn and liquidity pools. Let's start with the buy and burn. So 20% of the ETH coming from the batches goes to the buy and burn.
Yes.
Okay. So now here, you as a user, you would have an option to also click the buy and burn option here, which is probably, let me just explain a little bit here, because it has been a while me explaining how this works. So there's ETH sitting in the Blaze smart contract, and if a user clicks the buy and burn, it's very similar to Titanix. It goes and buys from the Titanix Weth liquidity pool. It buys Titanix with the ETH, which got from the badge, and with that Titanix, it goes and buys Blaze. And once it receives the Blaze, it burns that Blaze. So I think that's pretty much how that works. I mean, this is a very similar setup as also like Dragon X has very similar setup. The difference here to Blaze is this is a V2 pool and not a V3 pool. So Steve DeFi, I think you explained this on Sunday, but could you repeat here? What was the reasoning why you guys chose Uniswap V2? This is the old version. Why did you not choose the newest V3 version?
Yes. So our buy and burn, I think, is different than any buy and burn in the Titan X ecosystem, because it's 100% fully decentralized, as in 0 parameters we can change. We click the contract at the beginning and 0 input for the rest of the time. Everyone's going to know the parameters of the buy and burn when they're on the first day of Blaze, so they can create their strategies based on the knowledge that nothing is going to change. And we felt that was a key desire for the whole community, is not to have any tinkering going on, because when you start tinkering, because the market will always decide and fill in the gaps and take it into the right pricing. So the buy and burn is fully decentralized. And yeah, why and on that point too, the parameters are basically $100,000 a day maximum. spread out through the day every 20 minutes or so. You'll see it on the front end. And why a V2 rather than a V3? Well, this is a key major decision change that we did as a team that's decided on. Main reason is the way V3 functions when you have the ability to collect the fees from the V3. And a lot of people make a lot of money from collecting fees from V3. What Titan X did was take the fees and burn them. What Blaze is going to do with a V2 is, as the fees come in, they can't be claimed. They go into the liquidity pool itself. So if you provide liquidity on a V3, whatever range you have, it could be a full range, but when you provide liquidity on a V3, you collect the fees whenever you want. On a V2, the only way to collect the fees is to withdraw the entire liquidity pool, and then you get your fees. But our liquidity pool is locked. All the fees are going to make this pool thicker. So the difference is, instead of taking the fees and burning them, which is a good idea, we went one step further and did it better. All the fees are going into the pool to make the pool thicker, which is, for us, in our opinion, that's a better use of the fees.
That's great. So I mean, the big difference. I mean, if you guys out there doing LP, I'm very big into liquidity providing. That's how I make well a good percentage of my money is through liquidity providing. But anyhow, so the big difference is on V3 is that it does not automatically auto compound. The fees don't automatically auto compound. So and V2 automatically auto compounds the fees. So on V3 you would have to collect them yourself, and if you can add them yourself, but then it's like you need to collect it, swap the ratios, and then send it back to the pool if that's what you want. But it's a process which needs to be done. But on V2 it's automatically. There is advantages for both of them. Obviously, as an LP, I'm a big fan more of the V3.
Me too. And on that note, I would love to talk to you on a future show. I'd love to invite you on our show and just pick your brains on liquidity providing, because I'm really interested. I do that a lot too. So we'll find out whether it's an AI bot behind Mike Dean or a real person. Because we just see,
I'm not coming to that stream. I'll leave that to you too.
we would love that. I would love to talk to you about liquidity providing and just go off on that. Just go off
on the weekly Blaze.
Yes,
special guest Mike Dean and liquidity providing professionalism.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, but also charge a bit of a fee for that. But anyhow, we talk about we can definitely talk about that for sure. So one of the things which I also like to talk about is how the liquidity gets created in some ways, right? And I think on Titan X, the way liquidity provider was created was through bootstrapping. Like the ETH which came in, well, that ETH got like the tokens were minted, and then that liquidity pool was then created. So that is somewhat very similar to what you guys are doing. Can you explain that process a little bit more?
Justin, or Adam, you want to find
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
I'll jump in quickly. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Or
I hear you.
No, I think Ali might have froze.
Okay, so Ali seems to be frozen. So probably Steve DeFi, you want to take this?
Justin, I didn't hear the questions. I thought
he was asking how you said, Mike, how is the liquidity pool formed is what you were saying, basically.
Exactly. How does it get created? Because initially at launch it doesn't. It's not there, pretty much, right?
Exactly.
So Ali said talking to himself. and he's just
He
off on
might
his own amazing conversation to himself. It's funny. Sorry,
he'll
just
click back in a minute. That's all right. So the money from the auction that comes in from the first 3 days, we don't think it'll take 3 days, but that's what's going to form the liquidity pool. There $30,000 worth of Ethereum will come in, and it will buy Titan X from the pair in V3, and it will be established in a new pair on V2 with Blaze and Titan X. And on the 4th day, it opens up. So that's how it's going to be. It's all decentralized. So that's really a clean answer. Is there any questions you want me to go deeper into that, Mike, about how it's formed? It's just by community participation all around, including us.
Yeah,
And
I actually haven't. Yeah, I just to throw something in there, $30,000 worth of ETH. When you think about it, how quickly that could get hit, I would say that the team will probably put in. It would probably end up putting in more than that between us, quite quickly. It's just something that I've been thinking about, because I was thinking, what if it does take a day or two or a day to hit that $30,000? But to say the likelihood that that's gonna happen very, very quickly. I could be wrong, but I'm kind of thinking it will.
Okay, so probably one question here. This pool is going to be Titanix to Blaze. That's the liquidity pool.
100% correct. Yes.
Okay, great. So the 30,000 worth of ETH, which is coming in, half of that is going to go and buy Titanix then.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a massive buy of Titan X.
Gotcha. All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna be buying 15,000 then, I guess, right? Or how much will that gonna be? So you're going to mint Blaze. That's one.
Yes.
And the other half needs to be the 30,000 is gonna go and buy Titanix then. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So the way you guys have paired it, because when you're the first one who create the liquidity pool, you essentially create the price point. You can set the price at the initial starting price anywhere you want, pretty much, because it's just the ratio. You can choose the ratio. And one of the things which I was thinking about was, since you are since the protocol is the first one to create the liquidity pool, there is no other person or anybody can create the liquidity pool because it's within those 3 days. So there is no way of somebody creating a V3 pool somewhat. Obviously, like anybody can create that afterwards, but in those 3 days there is going to be only that pool only, right?
Exactly. That's going to be the only pool available, and
it won't be available till the 4th day. So you'll just be sitting there watching it, what's happening in it, and then unleash the fury of the V2 pool on the 4th morning and see some crazy trading going on, probably for those who aren't staking, I would imagine.
Okay, but hold on a second. So once the liquidity pool is been created, which could happen there, I don't know, but if enough participants come in, could happen a few hours after, or when is this going to create? It's just few hours. Whenever that 30,000 comes in, the liquidity pool will be created. Is that correct?
Yes, but it won't be unleashed until the 4th day.
What do you mean by unleashed?
Well, the liquidity pool will be established. So the requirements of the protocol will be met. Titan X paired with Blaze with the 30,000 of ETH. And so it'll sit there as the auctions go on for 3 days. And then on the 4th day is when people will actually be able to interact outside the auctions with the contract addressed inside Uniswap V2.
All right. Okay. Because I thought the liquidity pool, once it's live, so once it's been created, people can just start buying it because they want to probably stake. They
Yeah,
can, right?
So,
So the
yeah.
trading is basically essentially once it's been created, the trading can start, which could happen a few hours after launch. Is that correct?
Oh, that's right. I think Justin was just saying that the first tokens on the market that outside the liquidity pool will be on the 4th day.
Yeah,
But-
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I was saying.
That was,
So, yeah.
everyone
So
can buy,
sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. Misconfusion.
okay,
on-
that was a
on-
misunderstanding, because that's what I was thinking. Is like I thought now how I understood was now the liquidity pool for trading will also be on the 4th day, which it wouldn't have made sense in some ways, but no.
Yeah.
So
Sorry about that.
all good, all good. Just a misunderstanding. Yeah, so that's gonna be it's gonna be fun because the people who participate, it's definitely, especially on the V2, and no tokens will be available to I see. It's definitely going to be fun. I'm actually just thinking it in my head right now. That's why I have some of these comments here. So I think
just throw back to Titan X, because on that first day it was just the liquidity pool for 24 hours. But we're going to be doing it for 3 days instead of 24 hours. It's just going to be 3 times the fun in a way. It's going to be interesting what happens.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. So, I mentioned early on, and I'm seeing a comment here also. The starting price is going to be $2.18. This is how the ratio you've chosen it, right?
That's exactly right, and it's interesting to think too. If the starting ratio is $2, and there's 8,000 tokens every 24 hours, that's like a 16,000 value a day that the liquidity pool puts on the auctions at the beginning until there's buy pressure and until the game begins. So
it's definitely going. It's definitely very interesting.
You can have a meme coin start with, $1 liquidity, and people buy, and it ends up having hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we've started with 30,000 to make it, because we want this to be a really thick liquidity pool. I think that's going to help the protocol.
Yeah. I mean, also since it's a V2, pretty much nobody can set a sell or buy wall in some ways, right? Because on the V3, it's very easy to just create a massive buy or sell wall, like whichever.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but you could that someone would just create another V3 pool and then just play with the V3. But the buy and burn will always go into that V2.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I guess some people will end up creating that, but nevertheless, if the V2 pool is much bigger, then the volume is just going to be going there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
It could be a lot of fees. It's like the first day of Titan X, the amount of fees that generated was huge.
Yeah.
And so when you think about the amount of fees just going directly back into the liquidity pool, it's pretty exciting.
It's very absolutely. So regard also on the V2, like I'm very big on the V3. So a V2, is that a 1% fee tier pool as well, or is that they only had one version of it, right? 0.3%.
0.3.
Okay, so it's not one. Okay, because there was only two on V2. There's only 0.3%, right? There is not more. Well, anyhow, it doesn't matter. One thing which I would like to ask is the buy and burn, which you said is fully decentralized, and I think I asked you this on Sunday as well. And there's a limit, you said, for how much can be burned in 24 hours, and the limit is 100,000. So how does the division come now? And then the lower limit, the minimum which can be burned is $4,000. Is that correct? So there's the daily limit, and then there's like the interval limit in some ways.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so it will just be set at the beginning of the day because maximum would be $100,000 in a day. If less comes in the protocol, so that 20% is less, like 50,000 or 25,000, it just will be less. There's a cap, but no minimum. So if there's 50,000 comes in, it will just be split with a larger interval. If 25,000 comes in, it's even going to be a larger interval between each burn. If 100,000 comes in, probably be every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and the amount in each interval is $4,000. And then if no one calls it's rolled over to the next interval and increased. So it becomes 8, 12, 16 until someone calls the buy and burn, gets the fee, and back to $4,000. So it rolls over. So someone's gonna call it because with high fees, you don't want it just sitting there. So that's why we implemented a rollover.
Okay, so if only 4,000 in a day comes in, then it can only be burned once a day. Then is that correct?
Yeah, that's it. It'll just be once a day. If there's 4,000, it's going to be a once a day burn.
Okay, and then if less than 4,000, then we'll have to wait 2 or 3 days until that burn can happen.
Yeah, you'll have to wait until there's 4,000, I think. And
Gotcha.
yeah, I haven't actually tested that out. I'll test that out. I don't.
You should test it out. Yeah, maybe I just found a bug in your system, man.
Yeah.
Maybe you should introduce a bug bounty here, man.
For everyone's peace of mind, we're actually doing a functional audit as well as a security audit. So we've got 2 security audits, another internal one audit, which makes 3, but there's 2 published, and then there's on top of that there's a functional audit. So yeah, we've got our bases covered.
You want to make sure everything's working just right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So here, calling the buy and burn, like, what is the percentage incentive for calling it?
I think it's going to be. I think it was 1.5%. I need to check on that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can check, maybe double check that and see how that works. And then, so now I want to go on to the third part, which is the Blaze Diamond Club, and it's not Titan Wars anymore. It's Blaze Wars, right?
Yes.
All right. So probably let's start off with the Blaze Diamond Club. Could you explain what that is, and so that people get an idea how that works?
Simply, the Blaze Diamond Club is just what gives you access to that 888-day payout pool. That's all the Blaze Diamond Club means. You need to earn yourself a ticket to get into the Diamond Club, and as we said before, you can earn yourself multiple tickets in 3 different ways. The first way to get a ticket is to acquire 4,000 Blaze tokens and max stake them. Just a little thing as well worth noting: when the 888-day payout happens, it will roll over again for another 88. It rolls over just like all the rest. So if you max stake your Blaze for I think, what is the max stake? 2,888. It's a pretty long time. But that obviously then gets you access to the rest of the 888-day pools that come in the future. So the first one is locking up max stake in 4,000 Blaze. Then within the Blaze ecosystem, we're going to have Blaze Wars, which will be a fork of the Pulse Wars game. We haven't finalized the mechanics of it yet. So there's no point in going into the detail, but the minting site and all the artwork and the gameplay is kind of all ready to go. It's just going to need to be tweaked. But another way to acquire the ticket to the Blaze Diamond Club will be to mint 28 Blaze Wars NFTs, but you have to mint them.
Yeah, so you have to mint them and hold them.
The same. Yeah, look, take over for me. My internet's really bad there. I've dropped out like 5 or 6 times already. So you just take over for me there, Justin, please.
Sure, man. Yeah, so there's 3 ways for entry. We talked about the 4,000 Blaze tokens to stake, minting 28 NFTs, and you have to hold them till day 888. You can't sell them. You can't buy them in another secondary market. You have to hold them. The third way is acquiring a diamond NFT, which there's only 88 of out of 16,384, to be precise about that. And so, but you can acquire a diamond NFT off of the secondary market, and that would qualify. But as far as just minting 20 NFTs, you do have to hold them in your wallet till day 888 to have access to that pool, and that'll give you a ticket. And so you can mint sets of 28 NFTs if you wanted to have multiple ticket entries, like we talked about earlier as well. And if you're lucky enough to have more than one diamond, well, that's great too. The odds of that are slim, but it is possible as well. So yeah, I mean that's basically the Diamond Club in a nutshell.
Yeah, fantastic. I think Ali definitely needs to pay his internet bill.
Starlink, man, come on.
I used to go to the office to do all the streaming. My office was close to the house, but we
Yeah.
we moved, so it's like 20 minutes away. So now I do it at home, and it's very unreliable.
Yeah, man. You gotta start paying Elon Musk, man. Yeah. Anyhow, so I think that this is quite clear. So the way to get a ticket, just 3 ways. You either mint the Blaze Wars NFT, or you hold the Diamond NFT at day 888, which you can also buy it off the market, I think. And then at the Blaze Wars NFTs, there's going to be around 16,000 of those NFTs, right? And 88 of them are Diamond NFTs. And or the third option is max staking for the 2,888 days. You have to max stake 4,000 Blaze before day 365 after the launch.
Correct.
Okay, that's great. So exactly. So I mean, I wrote this question here, but I think you might have answered this already. What benefits does the Blaze Diamond Club offer, and how can users qualify for membership? So they qualify membership through these 3 means we just explained.
Okay,
Exactly.
so just as well, we've touched on future development, Mike. We have future plans to launch Blaze in not exactly the same format, but we do have plans to launch Blaze over on Pulse Chain and also launch Blaze on X1 whenever it launches. Just the way the team and a lot of the people that we deal with, talk with, interact with, we're all the communities are all overlapping. Pulse Chain, Zen and X1 and Titanx. There's a lot of overlap there. So that's kind of where our focus is. The Blaze, we aim to help remove Blaze off the market with our other protocols as well. And we also aim to offer more benefits to the Blaze Diamond Club on these other chains as well. Once we get Blaze launched, we will start to release, probably even when we're coming up to closer to launch date, we'll be able to start releasing details of what is coming next to help the users of our own, or to help our own protocol and our own community and our own users as well.
Gotcha. So
We
one
know,
of the questions I would have is, let's say I hold one of the Diamond NFTs, and do I need to stake that NFT to be like to get the on the day 888 I can claim the
No,
ETH,
you
or
don't
how
need
does
to
that
do
work?
you don't need to do anything with it. That literally on the day 888, whenever you go to claim, it will let one person claim per NFT, and it'll just recognize whether it's in your wallet or not.
Oh,
You
that's
don't
great.
need
Okay.
you don't need to stake it. So literally, the day before, it could be very. I know it's a long way away, but there could be a lot of game theory at that time. You can see at that stage, nobody will be able to enter the first 888 pool. The only way that somebody at that stage will be able to get in will be to acquire one of these on the secondary market. So it will have a value. Somebody might want to cash out a little while before and try to just get the value before they have to wait to the 888 day pool. But yeah, as long as you acquire one even the day before and are holding it in your wallet, then you'll be able to claim your share of the 888 day pool.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so I think that's clear on the diamond NFT. Regarding the other 28 Blaze Wars NFT, how does that work also? So I need to hold 28 of those and I can then claim the ETH on the day 888?
Yep.
Okay, so it works just very similar as the diamond NFT, but you just need to have 28 of them.
Same principle. Yeah, same principle. Exactly. And but you cannot acquire 28 normal NFTs off of the secondary market for that to count. You have to mint them and you have to keep them in your wallet. Unlike the diamond NFT where you are able to acquire it on the secondary market. So that's the only difference. But your wallet will be recognized if you did mint them and hold them till day 888 through the protocol, and the smart contract will give you your share of the 808-day Ethereum payout pool. So yeah.
Okay. So you need to you need to mint 28 of them and you need to keep it in your address for that amount of time. All right, man.
Exactly.
So you better pray that you don't get hacked now.
Yeah. So, it's going to be very interesting.
A lot of the AD.
We hear you. We hear you, Ali.
Do you?
Yeah.
Man.
I'm wrecking everything. I forget what I was going to say.
That's all good. Mike, did you have any other questions about that? About those NFTs and the Diamond Club or anything?
Yeah. So the question is, let's say you hold the 28 Blaze Wars NFT. How much percentage are you of the ETH are you gonna get actually?
That's a great question. It's just distributed among ticket holders. 4,000 every 4,000 Blaze staked in the first year. Max staked is one ticket. The diamond NFT, one diamond NFT is one ticket, and 28 NFTs equals one ticket. And that ticket is a share. So if I have one ticket and you have one ticket and Ali does, we all get 33%.
Okay, so there is no ceiling of how many tickets there's gonna be, right? Because they like
correct.
There's no ceiling in some ways, right? Because
No.
there's a theoretical ceiling whereby if everybody stakes, then there's a theoretical. But essentially, there's many tickets can be created as long as people just start staking, max staking, right?
Sure. I mean, you could have 8,000 Blaze staked, and you have 2 tickets. You could have 28 times 3 normal minted NFTs and a diamond too, and all that would be equal entry shares divided proportionally among the ticket holders for the 888 pool. So yeah, none of them are worth more than the other. As far as your allocation is distributed to you per the smart contract. So as long as you've got that, you've got a ticket, and you're going to get an equal share of the participants divided amongst themselves. So.
All right, that's great stuff, man. So
yeah.
I mean, this is going to be also kind of interesting because on day 300, so day 364, or even probably some few days before that, people might speculate if they should just buy and start and stake it. If maybe it's worth it at that time to do so, because the payout is going to be very clear from after 365 day. You can, but you can really calculate how much percent you're going to get, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because
Like you can calculate absolutely how much that is, because the NFTs are limited, and you know exactly how many diamond NFTs are going to be there, so you can essentially really calculate you can calculate it to the T, let's say.
Yeah, and there's incentive to stake later on as well. You know, not just the 888, because of the share rate not being top heavy for stakers too. So that's another incentive.
Okay, but I mean, that's one point. But just regarding of the 888 day payout, the share rate doesn't really matter, because you
Right.
need 4,000 blaze. Like
Right.
regardless
So
how
you would-
much the share rate costs, right?
Right. I was just referring to if you're just staking for the 8-day payouts, you know, and whatnot, and the 88 and stuff like that, if you waited till 2 days before a year was up to do it, you'd still have a legitimate share of the pools that exists.
All right, yeah, but I mean,
Sorry to jump back to staking, Mike. I know we were already past that. So
no worries, but I mean, obviously, that's also assuming that there is going to be more. There's going to be more people auctioning, right? If that's the case, because it might be, if nobody's auctioning on day 365 or whatever, the only thing left is going to be the 8-day payout cycle in some ways. I mean. So anyway, this was just like my few thoughts thinking about. So definitely I'm going to be eyeing it on that day. So I'm going to put my calendar reminder there and see see if I can catch something.
You and a lot of people, I think, us included, we all want it. We all have our favorite diamonds that we want. So I'd love to have one.
Yeah, pretty awesome, man. So anyway, I mean, we're gonna finish it off now with like some audits and admin keys. I've written just some few points here. So probably, can you guys go into the audits and admin keys? I think I think this is the last point, and I think apart from that, we talked about every point actually from the project, as far as I can remember. So probably talk a bit of the audits and if there's any admin keys in the smart contract.
So the audits, 2 security audits, 1 functional audit, and then 1 internal audit. So that it's pretty well audited. And audits being done now, top company, we've got 1 real top firm and 1 really, really highly regarded individual auditor. No Titan X auditor went with different ones. Mm-hmm. So regarding admin keys, Justin, fire away.
No admin keys.
Yeah, no admin keys.
Nah.
All right.
There's no admin keys for the buy and burn, and that'll never happen. We don't want that responsibility. We don't want to say, hey, maybe this should go one way when it should have gone the other. And, you know, I've said that a few times in some of these interviews, but that is not going to happen. So the goalposts don't move, and people know, and it's fair. This is fair. This is fair crypto for us.
Yeah, it's just you and the contract. It's nothing to do with us. We're spectators and participants, and it's just going to be really interesting how the market decides on the game and how it's going to play, how the cards are going to fall. We don't know. When everything's fully decentralized, you're having zero control. You just throw all the cards up in the air and then just watch what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely very interesting regarding that. I think, nevertheless, all the projects, Titan X and all the other projects which launched, I think we all learn from each other and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and then we're gonna see if your decisions is how it's gonna turn out as well. So definitely looking forward to that. How that things how things gonna turn out. So anyhow, it's been how long have we been going on now? 1 hour 19 minutes. I think I like to keep it under 90 minutes, like a good football game. Uh,
Yeah.
so so is there anything you guys maybe I forgot, maybe you guys want to mention before we finish this off?
I would say we're really close, and we are so close, and we just really want to give everybody a date, but we're just going to make sure that it's the right date, so we don't have to change it, right, guys? I mean, that's our focus right now, and we're at the 10-yard line in American football terms, right? Let me just back up there for a second for you guys, but yeah, we're right there in the red zone, so and everything will be made public if there's a change.
What's a yard? Sorry, I don't know what a yard is.
It's like 3 feet, almost 100 centimeters around that ish, so you're close, you're close. Maybe even closer than that, maybe 5 yards. Now, but if anything happens, Mike, delays from the auditors or whatnot, we'll let everybody know. We're not going to rush it out. It has to be perfect. And that's our goal, is to deliver a perfect protocol for everybody to the best of our ability.
That's fantastic, guys. Good to hear. And by the way, guys, if you want to check out Blaze, you can find all the links on titanixup.com. They are currently here sitting on number 8. And you can click the white paper or any of the social links here. I have the Telegram and the Twitter and their website. So don't hesitate and visit titanixup.com and check out the Blaze team. Guys, I mean, Raymond, you had the last word. I'm going to give it over to Ali, and then Steve DeFi, you finish it off, and then, we can enjoy our day.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. That was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. Sorry about my internet, and thanks for having us on. I'm sure we'll be chatting before launch again, and we'll be active in the weekly spaces from here on out. We've got so many things happening, and we'll have plenty to share over the coming weeks and months. And everybody participate in Blaze and Pulse Wars as well.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. The last thing I got to say is, why don't skeletons fight each other? They don't have the guts. That's the last thing to say.
All right.
The closer.
Is that's gonna be his regular thing now? Look up dad jokes before the stream.
That was a good laugh, man. So, guys, thank you very much for being here, and thank you, people watching in. Hope you learn a thing or two, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Thank you, Mike.